Okay, so welcome everyone. This is module 5 of Eclipse. The program acronym stands for Energy Clearing Leadership Intensive for Personal and Professional Self-Empowerment. And we're going to establish your wealth growth mindset if you're going to join me. And so obviously, I would love to wait for everyone to be online and live with me, but I have a lot to share. So I'm going to go into my share mode. So I can show you my presentation. What happened was that I didn't save it yesterday and it was lost. So I had to redo it in a different way today. So I hope you will still be loving the content I offer. So for everybody who's now with me, I also would like to give everyone who's live with me a bonus, but that bonus is at the end. And for obviously, if there's nobody live with me here, that bonus will be stored somewhere safe. And you will be still able to access it maybe next time. If you're here on this live next week. And obviously, I'd love to hear from you and interact with you. So happy to have you here on Zoom with me or on the group. I obviously don't know if you have already been part of the previous 4 parts. And if you have, great. If you haven't, I invite you to go over them in the group and perhaps ask some questions. There will be questions at the end also, so you can hop on and ask them live here on Zoom or on the group. I will try to find the comment section of the post. Yeah, I don't need to be double. I just heard myself. This is funny. Okay, I don't know how to get on my mobile and answer your questions without kind of interrupting the flow here. But that's okay. The journey continues. Last week we talked about archetypes in your soul contracts and how this will affect you. And we'll hopefully be able to cover everything today as the journey continues. And if you're not aware of who I am, then I'm going to share that as well. So just bear with me. My name is Lydia Proschinger, and I'm a spiritual teacher, business and leadership coach. Don't forget the ship, Lydia. And empowering soul leaders to find and thrive in their sacred soul purpose. And welcome, Samantha. Great to have you here on my live. There is a lot I would like to share with you, and I'm going to share my to-do list for today. It's how can you develop a wealth growth mindset? How will you achieve to shift from stuck to thriving? Oh, welcome, Holly. Without investing an arm and a leg. What is the best spiritual definition of money? How I or you become a receiver? How will I be able to, I'm in the way here, sell myself without selling out? I think that's a very big one for many of my clients. So this is for the time being. I have 3 to-do lists, 3. This is the first. I hope I'm going to be able to get through it all. So this was about the wealth growth mindset. So what is a growth mindset in general? Let's first look at the fixed mindset, which you need to kind of change in order to get into that growth mindset. And yes, you can. You can if you're allowing yourself to open up and let go. let go of everything that's holding you back, holding on to what you would like to achieve, and create a vision of yourself in a future version, which doesn't get stuck in the repetitive mode. So yes, sometimes this is a very big challenge because it's somehow linked to what you learned during the first 7 years of your life. That's where you kind of created the impression of what you're able to do or what you can do, and your mind has been set on what possibilities there are for you to develop into. So if you're growing up in a environment where you're loved and supported and nurtured and kind of given all the opportunities, it's easy to grow. It's easy to have a mindset that develops easily and learns easily. And if you're not in such an environment, learning becomes very, very difficult. Learning is becoming difficult because you're most of the time in a fight or flight state. And when you're in fight or flight or freeze state, you're not learning. You're fighting or running. So as a child, many of my clients have been kind of thrown into a family that wouldn't support them, wouldn't really get them into a place where they feel welcome and safe. And so what you do is you grow a mindset that wraps your neurons around everything that's limitation and frustration and energetic drain and emotional upset and all of those things. And you believe that you're either good at something or not, and you're frustrated because you're easily giving up. You're not encouraged. You never learned how to persevere. You're easily discouraged by your own lack of skills or talents, and you're not allowed to develop them because you don't see your potential. So given that is to obviously trigger emotions, and most of the time it's anger and frustration that challenge you, and you're going to set yourself up for failure because you're not believing in the possibility of success. So because you don't think you're good, you're also thinking you're not smart, and you're also thinking that success is only for the select few who can perhaps have a limitless access to limitless sources and resources, and you're not feeling great around people who have success because you're envious. Envy is the murder of your own talent and possibilities. Envy is the murder of your own potential, and it's the murder of your own, let's say, growth, because you're giving away your power, believing that others are able to do something that you're not. So if you're basically setting yourself up for that kind of fixed mindset, you're not really likely to achieve anything further in life. And you're probably not going to be here on my webinar because you don't want to create a business around what it is you want to do. At least that's the first conclusion I would have. And it would be the most logical one. But then there are those who say, hang on, if others can do this, I can do this. I just want to make sure that I learn everything, and I'm frustrated, and yeah, it's hard, and yet it's really hard to overcome my limitations. But regardless of how frustrated I am, I persevere and I keep going and I take up the challenge, and I just don't know how to do it, and I will find a way. So if you're in that kind of challenge, and if you're trying to set up a business, it's like two levels of hard. One, to learn how to create that business, and the other, creating your ease around the challenge of becoming who you really want to be. And that's the challenge for everyone who wants to go into a business, because business is not something you learn in school. You don't get told what to do when you go online. You're not really being given all of those things, even if you're studying for a MBA, which I have, you're not given all of the tools and tricks of the trade. So you have to kind of fail yourself forward and learn and just go, and you fall and you dust yourself up, you put your crown back up and you continue walking. And there's a little voice inside of you that pushes you to do so. And if you have that little voice that says, try harder, don't give up, don't let it discourage you, it's not failure, it's just another way of not doing it, then you succeed because your inside is already wired for success because you've got your inner cheerleader activated. But if you have an inner talk that says nothing is worthwhile doing, just give up, it's really hard, you will never manage to overcome those challenges, who do you think you are? Then your mindset is being sabotaged. This is the saboteur and the inner critic. You don't want to listen to that. So if you're putting your efforts forward every day, trying it with a very good determined attitude, putting a lot of love and money and skills and time and problem solving and everything you have into this, there is no reason why you shouldn't be successful. So, and applying this to your wealth, it's it's tricky because you're going to need money to start, and you're going to start to and continue needing money. And that's why I created this website and this venture, because I wanted to create money around my sacred soul purpose, not because I'm in a mindset that money is everything. On the contrary, I believe that we're going through a phase in our development, in our world, in humanity, where the redistribution of wealth is taking place. And those who are fair and who want to create a fair business are being hindered by powers that are basically sabotaging that effort. And I want you to know that yes, there is a lot of energy around this, but it's not true. There are two timelines. One timeline where this struggle is going on, and there's another timeline where you're aligned completely and 100% with your sacred soul purpose, and nothing is stopping you. So if you get your ducklings in a row and really shift from your mindset of being, I'm so stuck, to, oh, I'm thriving. I see the evidence around me that I'm thriving, that I continue, that I'm absolutely in my power, then you're investing into the right type of mindset. And it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. So here's the thing. The thing is about your skill set. Yes, you do need it, and you're going to have to shift gears with your skill set, because the skill set you're given, nobody else has. You are the only one who has your skill set. Why? Because even if the same people were sitting in the same course with you doing the same material, you were the one who interpreted it through your mind, intelligence, and knowledge and wisdom. And so you have to shift from I don't know what to say, to I'm a perfectly capable content creator who absolutely convinces people that what I offer is valuable. And that is a training I can give you in my 7-week program, because it does take a lot of rewiring on a neuronal level, because if one belief system is installed, to shift to another belief system really, really is tough. If you don't have an outside, let's say, catalyst who gives you that safe zone where you can do this and you can regularly kind of do the upgrades. The same goes for your training. Obviously, when you're doing coaching and mentoring and holistic practitioners and healers, you will always be in a continuous training process. But what we're meaning here by training is that you're training your new growth mindset to allow more wealth to come to you. The training means that you have to wrap your neurons around the technology part and the part that has a person in the room with you who is opposed to you, meaning you have to overcome the obstacle of people saying yes, but. And that is another part I will be teaching on my program, because every but has a self-limiting purpose, and every but is an indicator of a limitation for which you can offer a solution. Now, the most obvious one is I don't have the money and I can't afford it. And if that's the answers from your clients, then this is really, really messed up, because they're not investing in themselves. And that means they have self-esteem and self-value issues. If the answer is yes, but I'd like to first implement other people's programs that I've already taken part of, that means they're not aligned with those programs if they haven't done so already. That means that the power of, let's say, absorbing and implementing is being hindered by either not enough skill or not enough training. And so given that part, the alignment is really effortful. And if you have to effort something, you get tired really quickly. And that means you have to allow yourself to sort of grow into the material and understand where it is, what it is that you need to implement. And yes, there is a lot of stuff to implement, and there's a lot of technology to wrap your neurons around, but it doesn't have to be hard. That means you have to shift your mindset from hard to effortless. That's another shift we're going to be doing in that wealth growth mindset training, because if you're efforting something, you're contracting, you're not expanding. Everything that you're contracting is not allowing the wealth to come in. If you're contracted, you're not expanding, you're not allowing, and you're not receiving. That's very, very simple. That's the energy behind it. So if you're allowing that expansion and the growth to happen, you feel that shift. And that's when you're allowing the right feelings, the right energy to come through you. You align with other, let's say, information also. I give you an example. I was listening to the Abraham Hicks material when I was getting started in 2006, and I was thinking, I can't wrap my neurons around it. And I wasn't ready for that. That means I wasn't aligned with it, and it didn't make sense to me. Even though I was interested in the law of attraction and I understood it, I couldn't wrap my neurons around what she was talking about. And I love Esther Hicks today, and I love everything that she says and that Abraham says, and I understand everything to the T. Which doesn't mean that I'm teaching what she's teaching. She's teaching her things and I'm teaching my things. And it has been inspired by the law of attraction, but it's not that I'm teaching you how to apply the law of attraction, because the law of attraction already is in application. You're already running that. What I'm teaching you is how you can shift the feeling and the habit around feeling what it is that you're feeling. That's what I teach. Because what you're feeling is determining your frequency and what you're going to be aligned with for your future growth. And the habits are the thoughts that you think on a regular basis, and the beliefs that you're holding, and the impulses that you're creating through action. And a habit is an action that you repeat over and over so that it becomes an autopilot. That's an habit. And so rather than being stuck in a place where you don't think you have enough, why not live a big life that you can create one little step at a time with a lot of love for yourself, because you have to give that loving to yourself first. And if you're inspired by this, just let me know and comment on the group, or there is a chat here also on this on the Zoom. Um, if you have questions, just let me know. And here's the thing, a lot of times when you're allowing yourself to get into this higher level of energy frequency, you're actually already starting to become aligned with something that vibrates on a higher level. So for me, it helped me a lot to look at money in a different way, because money was always tight. I was a single mom of 3 children. I had a big rent to pay. I didn't have 2 jobs for nothing. I went to work in 2 jobs, and I created my business in a time where it was absolutely told me everybody told me, you know, don't do it. It's really difficult. It's a recession. The economy is bad, and no bank would give me any loans and stuff like that. So, being the hard head that I am, I did it anyway, and I quit my job. I started my business in 2008, did it part-time 2 years, and then I started in 2010 and launched myself, doubled my income in the first year, tripled it in the next year. And for me, it was important to just keep going. And it was tough. I'm not saying that everything that I've done so far was like the ultimate success. I'm saying that I applied my mindset and the wealth growth mindset in such a way that I was able to do. And that, as a single mom, was saying a lot, because I really love my children and I would never do anything to harm them or to be in any way uh, a detriment to them. But I had to get away from Belgium, and my shift from one country to another really made a very big difference in my business and in my life. So a lot of things needed to be adjusted, and I continued investing in my own development, and I invested in courses, and I invested in travels to attend the seminars. And at some point, I realized I need to stop investing in training. I need to do something with what I'm learning. I've got to do what it takes in order to shift that mindset. And it helped me to redefine the definition of money for me. So the best spiritual definition that I've come up with for money is that money is the energy that brings you what you love for taking inspired action. It is the exchange you receive for giving your time, skills, and talents, wisdom, and knowledge that you were given and you worked hard for, so you can fulfill your sacred soul purpose. And when I say big life, I don't mean a life in abundance and luxury all the time, because that's not, for me, that wasn't the case. I do live a nice big house, but it's not luxury. It's I'm not a person that's ostentatious or ostentatious. That's how you call it. And I still kind of like comfort. So this is what my lifestyle was going to be. And I really believe that it's absolutely mandatory that you shift your definition around money so that it fits your mindset, your growth mindset, not the fixed mindset. And so when you come to a higher level of understanding things, you're also becoming a receiver. Um, for those who understand the working of the chakra system, um, when you're in a constricted fight or flight mode, you're constantly like a red traffic light. And that means that you're only in your kind of survival mode. Your body is sending out an energy frequency that says, I can't receive right now. I'm too busy fighting or running. To become a receiver, you have to go into your higher chakra, the one that is above the navel, that says, I am available and I'm receiving. And that's actually also the the same chakra that is responsible for sexual arousal. And before you go ahead and say, Lydia, you're perverted, I'm like, no, 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 no. What this means is that your sexual energy gets pulled up. Your arousal is nothing else than a sexually, let's say, magnetized energy that goes into your belly and not into a explosion of orgasmic release. So you're completely redirecting that energy up your spine, up your chakra system. And that means you have to let go of the fear. You have to be open for possibilities, for expansion, for growth, and you have to be excited. The excitement is what's going to bring you the possibilities. You have to believe in the unexpected. You have to get enthusiastic. You have to say, okay, this is my favorite thing to do today. This is my absolute most desirable thing to have. And for that matter, a lot of people create what they called vision boards. Now, I believe that that's a really good thing if you're a visual person, but if you're an auditory person, what else can you do? You can actually create music, like a playlist for you that gives you a really good feeling all the time. But if you're not like me a little bit, you like your quiet, you just go into the nature and look at abundance in nature. How many leaves the tree has, how many grasses on the meadow, how many stones and I don't know, sand grains are there to build that valley. Everywhere is abundance if you see it. And it doesn't mean that you create that instantly, but your mind will wire for abundance if you allow that to happen. Your thoughts and energy create everything that you are going to receive. If you're in alignment, you're going to be able to sell what it is that you're creating. Obviously, you first have to create a business around it, a product around it. And once you have a product that you can sell, you have to allow yourself to not be selling with, and selling yourself. Being a sellout is often observed in those type of coaches that basically just run on automatic. They don't really go into a deep conversation with their clients. They dump their content and then they run with the money. And I kind of believe that, yeah, that's a very good leverage system, but you don't really serve on a higher level when you're a spiritual coach like me and teacher. You want to make sure that the person is able to allow that alignment to happen. And that's when we're in the room together. That happens when you're actually going to absorb the material, change your mind and feeling around what it is that you want to create, and allow the wealth of who you are to surface. Your wealth is already existent inside of you. It's difficult for some people to perceive that because they see lack around them. But what is around you does not reflect what's in you as a potential. It's in you what's currently running as a program. So once you're changing the program, it's like anything goes. It's really about delimiting yourself. That's also when you're understanding a little bit more about who you are yourself. You're creating a new version of you. And you're actually activating your throat chakra, and your heart chakra will combined become the most active in your, let's say, self-promotion. Self-promotion is storytelling. It's not about creating advertisement. Advertisement is sometimes in our line of work a little bit different because there's so much already out there. So you have to reinvent yourself before you kind of get to the part where you can actually be speaking to your target audience. And once you know who you really want to serve, once you're really clear on that, your target audiences are going to find you because you're going to be seen, heard, and you're taking action. And it's effortless because at that point, you've already let go of all of your limitations. I'm not saying that you can do this in 7 weeks. I'm saying that this is the beginning of your growth mindset around wealth that enables you to build products and services that allow for your target audiences to buy from you. And you're implementing a logistic system behind it so that the money can come to you. And I see that we've already kind of covered the half an hour. I still wanted to go into more. So if you're still up for it, you can stay on. I will continue. Do you have any questions right now? For the first part, I actually just love questions, so just hit me with them if you would like to do so. Right, so what if I get overwhelmed? How can I create, advertise, price, and magnetize my offers? Will it work for my business? Do I need a website? Do I need a CMS? What is actually a CMS? Do I need a long list? Do I need a virtual assistant? How do I get to create great content? All of that is part of the program. And I'm not going through these items just now because we don't have the time anymore. But in my program, I'm actually going into a very detailed kind of workshop where you actually create your offers, you price them according to what they're worth on the market, where you actually stretch your feeling, comfort feeling around the pricing so that the pricing is in alignment with your higher self and not your small self who thinks that other people don't have money. And yes, you will need to create a website, and you need to create a list, and you need to create a email system. But you will also kind of do that while you grow. And for the starting, you don't need anything. You need to just know what's your purpose. And your purpose comes when you're, thank you for that question, Holly. Your purpose comes in, you don't find it, it actually is already there. It's already inside of you. And once you've let go of all of the rubbish that's holding you down, that gives you the wrong program, that also is limiting you and your vision of who you are and what the possibilities are, that's when your soul purpose comes through, and it's going to be so powerful that you're going to be in a place of bliss. But you have to shift from your root chakra to the heart. Opening your heart chakra is absolutely mandatory. That means you have to let go of all that's grieving you. Everything that's concerning loss, everything that's concerning lack of self-love. And then your soul purpose is going to shine through you. You can't even stop it. Can you have more than one soul purpose? Unless you have more souls, I don't see that happening. You can have different stages of a soul purpose. I think the only soul purpose that we've come here for is to be loved and to love. But first to love, because that's what we can control. We can't control the other. But the more that you love yourself, the more that you're excited about what you do, the more you get clear on your purpose. I started with my business just because I was frustrated in the job. I didn't want to do that anymore. My purpose came through many years doing what I thought was at the moment the purpose that I was seeking. It was the pedals on the road that I was following. So I was getting the hint, go self-employed. That's what I did. Go into the direction of health coaching. That's what I did. So I always ask myself, what is possible right now? That's the question you need to write down if that's your question. I hope that answers yours. So what if I get overwhelmed? Well, you have many modalities. I use EFT and matrix reimprinting. That's when you feel whatever it is that you go through. You breathe through it, you tap through it, and you heal it by shifting the way that you're actually experiencing it right now. And I have a release system, which is a process called Exogenesis. But we're talking about that some other time again. How can I create, advertise, price, magnetize my offers? It's absolutely mandatory if that's where you are right now. Sorry, that was too quick. But we talk, because in the discovery session, we will be able to answer those questions, and it doesn't have to be difficult. It might be just so easy that your cat can even do it. And yes, you will have to create a list, you have to create a website and all of that, and you have to create your social media platform. But that's when you already kind of have the content created. That's when you start doing that. Do you basically need a brand and your, I don't know, your long list, virtual assistant, and your great content? Yeah, you do need all of that. But first, you need to be clear on what it is you want to do. That's why I do the Eclipse program, because we can't get into a content creating mode if we don't have the power to do it, if we don't have the creative inspiration to do it. And it's better to do the original than the copy paste of somebody else's, right? So, and yes, you will attract the clients that you serve just by being who you are. So if you're going on autopilot, you know, getting run by your program, other than getting into more kind of problems because you're not aligned, that, you know, I don't see that happening. So you have to get off autopilot and put your let's say your energy into what you want to create, which means you have to resolve the relationship issues that you have with money and with other people who have money. That's when you have to see your clients as empowered people who have money. That's when you have to see that money given to you is not money wasted. It's money spent well. It's invested in growth and in freedom and in world peace. And so, yes, it will really help you to get into a regular kind of conversation with other people who would like to take a free session from you, in which you can then enroll them. And it's really, really, really helpful if you make yourself notes of what their problems are, so that you see which people you're attracting, because you're then going to fine tune your offers accordingly. So if people in general have problems, they will have general problems that you can help them with, but they might materialize in a way that it's actually your sweet spot, and your sweet spot might be something else than what they're looking for. And you don't work with those people because you're not in alignment. You work with people who absolutely have the problem that only you can solve. And then obviously through your website, you're going to receive the payments through a card system. And there are several different ones. They have different pricing, they have different characteristics and options. And so we're not going to go into this right now. The week one is the one when we do the blueprint. Week 2, we're really growing based on what it is that you've set down to, let's say, to explore. And we are going into the sequencing of what it is that you want to build by setting goals and determining customized goals, not something that I'm giving you as a pre-program, because I don't know who you are and I don't know what belief systems you hold, what energy that you need to align with. So that's, that's something very individual. Module 6 is all about creating your spiritual business, your vision and signature talk. And module 7 is about designing your soul leadership mission. So if you're stuck around the part where you don't know exactly what your soul purpose is, the heart is the first place to go to, the heart healing. And in order for you to continue doing the heart healing, you have to let go of the past completely. And you have to also not be deterred by the surrounding environment, but to generate from inside. And that's a lot of meditation work. That's a lot of positive affirmation work. That's a lot of believing in something you can't see right now. So, do you have any more questions for me? Otherwise, I would wrap this up. And I'm really excited for week 6, which is the module 6 about how to create the spiritual business in a vision and your signature talk. I think I need to kind of look on the Facebook also. Okay, so there were no questions there. This is great. It means that I have done most of the talking and most of the content. If you do still have questions afterwards, just feel free, and I'll be happy to answer your questions on the thread in the group. And so if there is nothing else I can do for you today, I will be signing off, and I am very, very grateful for you to be here, and to hopefully see you next week when I go live again with the Mystic's Journey. And yes, there will be a recording available, I hope, on the group, which you can afterwards go to. I didn't press record again. I don't know why. I keep doing this. So if I didn't record it to my laptop, I hope it did get recorded on the group. So maybe you just check it out on the group afterwards. And I see you next week.